I comment on the fact that the government have just announced the closure of late night venues from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. for a period of 6 months, is that most of the late night venues, the bars and clubs and other late night traders have already suffered enough pain to put them beyond the realms of recovery. And the government really do need to bring about some form of other legislation whereby either they pay for the closures, the rates should not have to be paid if there's an enforced closure, and effectively if the tenants are not offered that help, then I can see that almost every single bar, club and restaurant, late night venues, we're representing about 15 of them at the moment on negotiations, and casinos and the like will never be able to recover from what they've already been through. Staff furloughing is now coming off, and unless that's extended on the late night industry, are they going to keep their staff? They're going to have to make redundancies and then re-employ them again if the roulette wheels start spinning, or the bars, clubs and restaurants opening. And the order of a 6 months period at this time is putting the nail in the coffin for unfortunately all these operators, who are, by the nature of the fact that they operate the London clubs, they're the best operators that you can have, right? And if a bar, club or restaurant comes empty because people decide, the operators today decide that enough's enough, we may as well liquidate the company, they're going to be the best people for the landlords to work with. So I don't know what comes from here. Landlords must realise that tenants can't pay rent if they can't get income. The banks have to recognise that their customers have got problems coming up, not only with regard to the possibility of having to reduce rents to the operators even when they reopen, but let alone the fact that so many liquidations are going to come about, because this has to be the last nail in the late night operators' coffin. I'm sorry to paint such a gloomy picture, but government restrictions like that on the people who are carrying out the operations should be funded by the government in some way, whichever way it is. Nil rates is an obvious one, but even further funding to pay rent, all right, because they don't want the property market to collapse either, all right. So when you look at the landlord's point of view, he turns around and he says, why is it my problem to start with, which is how we worked in March to April, to rent deferment, and now to rent-free periods, which are being talked about. And the most important thing is that the tripartite and we act for landlords as well, not as much as we act for tenants, but the most important thing is to try and keep these tripartite relationships together. We're in very worrying times, obviously. The thought of what's to come, who knows what will come in the market, because it's the first time in 50 years my crystal ball's got black paint over it. A gloomy report, but at least it's straightforward and comes straight from the heart of where I feel about where the market's going. I think that the late night industry is completely finished with this.